Welcome, let's explore what Think and Grow Rich has to say.
Welcome back, everyone. We're diving deep today into the world of the subconscious mind.
Oh, always a fascinating topic.
Right. We're tackling Joseph Murphy, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind.
A classic.
Yeah, from 1988. And it's bold. It claims we can shape our destinies just through thoughts and imagery.
It's definitely a powerful idea, one that's resonated with a lot of people over the years.
So today we're going to break it all down, see what holds up, what's useful, and how you can maybe, apply some of these ideas to your own life. Sound good?
Sounds great. And what I think makes this book so unique is it's not just theory, it's practical.
Right. Like, it's one thing to say, oh, the subconscious is powerful, but he gives you these techniques to actually tap into it.
Exactly. It's like a toolkit for change.
Okay, so right off the bat, Murphy introduces this concept of the conscious and subconscious mind working together. He calls them little me and big me.
A pretty catchy way to put it.
Yeah, I thought so too. So little me, the conscious mind, is the captain, making the plans, setting the course.
Right. The one in charge, making decisions.
But the subconscious, the big me, that's the crew actually down there making things happen.
The one's carrying out the orders.
And, thinking about it like that, as this ship analogy, it makes a lot of sense.
It really does. I mean, imagine the captain shouting, "Full speed ahead,"
Yeah.
all confident.
Yeah.
But the crew down below, they're terrified of a storm they're convinced is coming.
Oh, I see where you're going with
The
this.
ship's not going anywhere, is it? Not very effectively, at least.
Because you've got this conflict, right, between the conscious goal and then the subconscious belief.
Exactly. And that's what happens when our conscious goals clash with our subconscious beliefs. We sabotage ourselves.
And Murphy uses a really great example to illustrate this point. The famous opera singer Caruso.
Ah, yes, a brilliant example, because even someone at the top of their field can be held back by their subconscious.
Totally. So Caruso, known for his incredible voice,
One of the greatest tenors of all time.
he suffered from terrible stage fright.
Imagine that pressure.
Oh, I can't even imagine. So he knew he had the talent, but his subconscious...
filled with fear, right?
Totally. Causing his throat to tighten up, his body to tremble, all those classic physical symptoms of fear.
That fight or flight response taking over.
And eventually, he realized he needed to calm the big me down, like reassure his inner crew that everything was going to be okay.
It's like talking yourself down from a panic attack.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? It worked. He was able to perform flawlessly.
Which is amazing. The power of self-belief to override even our deepest fears.
That's pretty inspiring, right?
Absolutely. And this brings us to a crucial point that Murphy keeps emphasizing throughout the book. The subconscious mind, it doesn't judge. It accepts whatever you feed it, whether it's true or false.
Well, that's interesting. So it's not discerning, it's just taking it all in.
That's right. He compares it to a book of life, recording every impression, every belief, without question.
Okay, that's a powerful image. But that can be, well, kind of scary too, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because if you keep feeding it negative thoughts...
Yeah, those become your reality.
Exactly. And he tells this rather unsettling story about a man who is constantly being told that his arm would wither away.
Oh, wow. That's awful. Was there anything medically wrong with him?
No, nothing at all. But this man, he believed it so strongly that his arm actually did start to wither.
Wait, what? Just from believing it?
His subconscious mind literally manifested that reality.
That's wild. It's like the placebo effect, but in reverse.
Exactly, a nocebo effect. And it highlights the power of suggestion, which is another key concept Murphy delves into.
Okay, so tell me more about this. The power of suggestion.
Well, he distinguishes between two types of suggestions. External suggestions.
Okay, so that's like people tell us, right?
Exactly. And there's auto-suggestions, the things we tell ourselves.
Ooh, okay. I see the distinction. So those internal messages we're constantly feeding ourselves.
Precisely. And to illustrate this, he gives this example of a passenger on a ship who gets seasick, just because someone mentioned it.
Oh, I totally get that. I'm very susceptible to that kind of thing. Like if someone's like, oh, are you feeling car sick? I'm like, ugh, now I am.
Exactly. And then in contrast, he talks about a seasoned sailor who, is completely unaffected by the rough seas.
Because they believe they're immune to it.
Exactly. Their belief in their own immunity overrides the external suggestion.
That's fascinating. So it really is about what we choose to believe.
And this leads to a really empowering idea, the power of autosuggestion. If external suggestions can have such a strong impact, imagine what we can do by consciously choosing the suggestions we give ourselves.
So we can use this to our advantage. Instead of letting those negative thoughts run wild, we can actually reprogram our thinking.
Exactly. And the book talks about this singer who was able to completely banish her stage fright by repeatedly affirming, her confidence, her talent, her ability to succeed.
So she essentially retrained her subconscious to associate singing with positive feelings.
Precisely. She changed the script. And that's what we all have the power to do.
Wow. It's like we have this incredible power within us, but we need to learn how to use it. It's like having this powerful engine, but no instruction manual.
And that's where Murphy comes in. He offers us that manual. He dedicates a whole chapter to techniques for harnessing the subconscious mind. And he doesn't just stop at, mindset. He goes into healing, wealth, relationships, you name it.
Okay, let's talk about healing. That's one area that I'm particularly curious about. What examples really stood out to you?
Well, there's this one story about Dr. James Esdale. He was a surgeon in India back before anesthesia was widely available.
Oh, wow. That must have been tough, both for him and the patients.
You would think so, right? But here's the thing. He performed successful surgeries using only the power of suggestion.
Wait, surgeries without anesthesia? How is that even possible?
Oh, I know it sounds crazy, right? But he convinced his patients that they wouldn't feel any pain, and their subconscious minds believed him.
So their belief actually blocked the pain signals.
It's a testament to the power of belief to influence even our physical experiences.
That is mind-blowing. And it makes you wonder how much of our experience of pain and healing is tied to our subconscious beliefs.
It really does. And Murphy connects this to, those cures people experience at shrines around the world, like Lourdes, for example.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. People claim miraculous healings happen there.
And he suggests it's not necessarily about the place itself, but the unwavering faith that people have in a healing power.
So their belief, their conviction, becomes the catalyst.
Exactly. That belief triggers the subconscious to activate its own healing mechanisms.
So it's like the placebo effect, but on a much grander scale.
Precisely. The power of belief becomes the medicine.
Amazing. And to further prove this point, Murphy even shares his own experience of healing a skin malignancy through prayer.
Oh, wow. He had firsthand experience with this.
Yeah. He attributed it to his subconscious tapping into what he calls a perfect pattern within, like this blueprint for health and wholeness.
So our subconscious minds hold not just our beliefs, but the potential for healing as well.
That's what he suggests. So like this hidden reservoir of power we can learn to access.
And to help us tap into it,
Yes.
he offers specific techniques, practical tools, not just theories.
Okay, I'm definitely intrigued now. Tell me about some of these techniques he suggests.
All right. One fascinating one is called the passing over technique. And it involves basically repeatedly visualizing and feeling your desired outcome as if it's already real.
So you're not just thinking about it, you're really embodying it.
That's the key. It's about creating that vivid impression on the subconscious mind through consistent visualization and emotion.
So like feeling it in your body, experiencing it as your current reality.
Precisely. And another powerful one is what he calls the mental movie method. It's all about creating this detailed mental movie, complete with sights, sounds, emotions, to impress upon the subconscious mind the reality you want to create.
It's like writing and directing your own internal movie.
Exactly. And then there's the Baudouin technique, which uses affirmations in a relaxed, drowsy state right before sleep. The idea is to take advantage of that heightened suggestibility of the mind right before you drift off.
Ooh, that's clever.
Yeah.
Like planting seeds of positive suggestions.
Exactly. And does Murphy give any real-world examples of these techniques working?
Oh, absolutely.
I was going to ask about that. Does this stuff actually work?
He shares stories of people using these techniques to achieve all sorts of things. Healing from illness, achieving financial success, even solving really complex problems. The book is full of evidence that this stuff really works.
That's amazing. It's mind-blowing to think that we have this potential within us just waiting to be unlocked.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. We haven't even touched on how this applies to wealth and success, which is where Murphy's insights get really interesting.
Okay, I am hooked. Let's dive into that because who couldn't use a little more abundance in their lives, right? What does Murphy say about attracting wealth and success? Well, he makes this bold statement. Wealth is a subconscious conviction.
Oh, wow. I like that. So it's not just about working hard and making smart choices, But our beliefs about money actually play a role.
Absolutely. And he argues that our financial struggles, they often stem from a lack of belief in our own, what he calls invisible means of support.
Invisible means of support. What does that even mean?
He's talking about a force that resides within the subconscious mind, a force that can help us achieve our goals and attract abundance.
Cool. I'm starting to see where he's going with this. So it's about tapping into that inner power.
Exactly. And to illustrate this, he tells the story of this young boy who persistently visualized himself becoming a doctor. He faced all these obstacles, but he never gave up on that vision.
And did he eventually become a doctor?
He did. It's a powerful example of the law of attraction in action.
So by holding that clear mental image of our desired outcome, we're essentially attracting the circumstances and resources to make it happen.
That's the essence of it.
Wow. And he offers a really practical tip. He says, repeat the word wealth before sleep to cultivate a wealth consciousness in your subconscious mind.
I love how practical he gets. It's almost like planting a seed of prosperity before you go to sleep.
Right. So simple, yet intriguing. And this focus on the practical really sets Murphy apart. He's not just theorizing, he's giving you concrete actions to try.
And there's so much more to uncover. We've only just begun to explore the vast potential of the subconscious mind. It can impact our relationships, our ability to forgive, even our experience of aging.
I am so ready for part 2. So last time we were really digging into this idea of the subconscious like this recorder, right?
Right.
Just soaking up everything we feed it.
Yeah, like a sponge. But it's not just passive, is it? It's not just absorbing. It's also influencing how we interact with the world around us.
Right. It's not just a one-way street.
Exactly. Think of it like a transmitter, too,
Yeah.
constantly sending out vibes based on, what it's recorded. And Murphy dedicates a whole chapter to this, the subconscious and harmonious human relations.
Oh, interesting. So it's not just about attracting wealth or healing. It's about attracting positive relationships, too.
It's more about setting the stage for those relationships, I'd say. He really emphasizes projecting love, peace, goodwill.
Okay, so that sounds pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah.
Just be a good person.
Yeah, but it's not just about magically beaming those good vibes to other people's subconscious minds or something. It's about cultivating that energy within ourselves first.
Ah, I see. So you're radiating positivity, which then creates this fertile ground, I guess you could say, for healthy relationships to grow.
Precisely. And it's not always easy, is it? I mean, Murphy shares this story about a woman who was consumed by hatred for a colleague.
Ooh, I bet we've all been there, right? Encountered those difficult personalities, especially maybe in the workplace.
Oh, absolutely. And sometimes it feels like there's no escaping those negative vibes.
Right. So did this woman just try to avoid this person altogether?
That's what you'd expect. But no, she actually decided to practice empathy, trying to understand this colleague's perspective, where they were coming from.
Oh, wow. So instead of fighting the negativity, she transformed it by, shifting her viewpoint.
Exactly. And guess what? It actually worked. Her hatred dissolved, and they were able to build a more positive working relationship.
That's really inspiring. It makes you think twice about those knee-jerk reactions we all have sometimes.
It shows you how powerful that subconscious can be, even in shaping our perceptions of others. But there's a flip side to this, right? Murphy also warns against negativity and criticism directed at others.
Because what you put out comes back to you, like
Yeah.
karma.
Yeah, he calls it a destructive cycle. That negative energy, whether it's aimed at ourselves or at others, it just attracts more negativity. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Makes sense. If you're constantly focused on the bad, you're going to see the bad everywhere. It's like you said before. The subconscious doesn't judge, it just absorbs and reflects.
Exactly. And this leads into another crucial theme, forgiveness. Holding on to anger, resentment, guilt. He compares it to drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
Wow, that's a powerful image. So forgiveness is really more about freeing ourselves than anything else.
Yes, it's about letting go of those burdens we're carrying. He shares a story about a man who actually murdered his brother
Oh my gosh.
and was completely tormented by guilt, right? And it wasn't until he really understood the nature of the subconscious and God's forgiveness that he finally found peace.
That's heavy stuff.
Hmm.
But I can see how constantly replaying those negative memories, holding on to that anger and guilt, it's like we're keeping ourselves trapped in that cycle of pain.
Exactly. Murphy encourages us to release those emotions, not because the other person deserves it, but because we deserve peace.
I'll admit, forgiveness is something I really struggle with. It's so hard to let go sometimes. But hearing Murphy frame it as a gift to ourselves, that's a powerful shift in perspective.
It's about breaking free from the chains of the past, opening ourselves up to the possibility of healing and growth. And this idea of growth connects to another fascinating topic Murphy explores, staying young in spirit.
Wait, staying young forever? I mean, I thought aging was inevitable.
Biologically, yeah, sure. But Murphy really challenges this idea that aging automatically equals decline. He says age is, to a large extent, a state of mind.
So it's about choosing how we experience getting older, not about denying the reality of it.
Exactly. And he gives examples of people who stayed active and vibrant well into their later years, achieving some remarkable things. It's about embracing the wisdom of experience while staying curious, open to new adventures.
So it's like that saying, you're only as old as you feel.
That's the spirit. And this all ties back to the subconscious mind, right? If you believe getting older means becoming frail and limited, well, guess what? Your subconscious is going to manifest that reality.
Oh, I see. It's like we're planting the seeds for our own decline if we buy into all those negative stereotypes about aging.
Exactly. But if we cultivate this mindset of vitality and growth, our subconscious will actually work to support that. It's about seeing aging as a journey of continued evolution, not decline.
This is giving me a whole new perspective on getting older. Instead of dreading it, I can start seeing it as like another chapter filled with possibilities.
And that's what I love about this book. It's not just about understanding the subconscious. It's about recognizing our own role in shaping our reality.
It's like we're finally being given the keys to the car and the instruction manual.
What are some of the biggest aha moments that have jumped out at you so far? For me, it's really the idea that our beliefs, whether we're conscious of them or not, they actually shape our reality.
Right. And that's both empowering and honestly a bit daunting, isn't it?
It is a huge responsibility. But awareness is always the first step to change. And luckily, Murphy doesn't just leave us with this realization, right? He gives us those practical tools to work with.
Yeah, all those techniques we've been talking about, the passing over technique, the mental movie method, the Baudouin technique, they're like a bridge between our conscious desires and our subconscious beliefs.
And if we use them consistently, we can start to reprogram our subconscious minds, replace those old limiting beliefs with new empowering ones.
It's like we have this incredible toolbox for inner transformation, and we're finally learning how to use it.
And it's important to remember that we have to align those conscious and subconscious minds. When they're working together in harmony, that's when we can achieve some incredible things.
It's like that analogy you used earlier, the captain and the crew working together to steer the ship towards its destination.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of exploring the subconscious mind. It's a journey of self-discovery and transformation that can touch every aspect of our lives.
I love that. Well, we've covered a lot of ground, from healing to forgiveness to staying young in spirit. Where do we go from here? What are the big takeaways for our listeners as we kind of wrap up this deep dive?
Okay, so we've uncovered so much about this incredible subconscious mind, right? How powerful it is, how it shapes our lives. And we even learned some practical tools, techniques to harness it. But where do we go from here? How do we actually take all this and use it in our everyday lives?
Right, like what does it all mean? I think if we zoom out and look at the big picture, it really suggests a pretty profound shift in perspective.
Okay, I'm listening. A shift in perspective, how so?
Well, instead of feeling like, things just happen to us, we can start to see ourselves as the creators.
Yeah.
The active creators of our own reality.
So it's about taking ownership, recognizing that our thoughts and beliefs, they actually shape what we experience.
Exactly. The thoughts we dwell on, the stories we tell ourselves, the images we hold in our minds. They're not just fleeting events. They actually have a real, tangible influence. So it's like our minds are broadcasting a signal, and the universe is responding.
I love that analogy. And that signal can either attract what we want or repel it, depending on its nature.
Which brings us back to aligning the conscious and subconscious minds.
Right. That's key. If our conscious desires are clashing with our subconscious beliefs, well, it creates this friction. It holds us back.
It's like trying to drive with one foot on the gas and the other on the brake. You're not going to get very far.
Exactly. And that's why those practical techniques Murphy outlines are so valuable. They help us bridge that gap, bring our subconscious beliefs into alignment with our conscious goals.
It's like giving the subconscious mind a clear roadmap, a set of instructions that are actually aligned with what we truly want.
And as we practice those techniques, we start to rewrite the program, right? We replace the old limiting beliefs with the new empowering ones.
This is incredibly empowering. I mean, It suggests we have way more control over our destinies than we might realize.
That's the beauty of this whole exploration. It's about awakening to that incredible potential that lies within each of us.
I feel like we've only just scratched the surface. There's a whole universe in there.
Oh, absolutely. This book is just the starting point. It's like a gateway to a whole new world of understanding and possibility.
We've covered so much, from healing to forgiveness to staying young at heart. As we wrap up this deep dive into the subconscious, what's one final thought? Something for our listeners to ponder as they continue exploring this fascinating realm.
The most important question to ask yourself is, what are you consciously or unconsciously feeding your subconscious mind? And what realities are you creating for yourself?
That's a powerful question. It challenges us to really pay attention to those mental habits, to become more aware of what we're planting in that fertile ground of the subconscious.
Exactly. And if you're intrigued by what we've discussed today, I highly recommend checking out Joseph Murphy, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind.
Yeah.
It's packed with insights and practical guidance that can truly transform your life.
Wonderful. Well, thanks for joining us in this incredible deep dive. And remember, you have the power to create the reality you desire. Keep exploring that incredible world within. Until next time.
Kindly head down to description and click the link to purchase the book.
Thank you for listening to us. Please kindly like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Also, please let us know which book you would like us to summarize.